guys. This was an improve your draft position road trip. 3 games we could have won, didn't, especially tonight. Snaps our 7-game winning streak at the Pistons. Sadiq Bey, eye hole over PJ Washington. PJ Washington's colder than a polar bear, drinking a Coke on top of an igloo the last 2 games. Just gross. The Pistons went to Mason Plumlee's going to beat us or nobody's going to beat us, and he missed 4 free throws after starting 7 of 8. And nobody else could get an open shot after we took a 104-97 lead with about 7 minutes to go. The well went dry after the one big shot that PJ made tonight. The well went super dry. PJ tried to make a driving layup with about 45.1 to go after LaMelo Ball got a 3-point play to go. LaMelo Ball fouled out, but 23, 8, and 8, near triple-double. He's had a Jekyll and Hyde type of road trip game. The first game against Milwaukee, even though we lost, he became the franchise leader in triple-doubles. The next night in Chicago, he got ejected for 2 technicals. Look, I don't like our best player getting technicals in the fourth quarter, but those were some blatant misses. I saw the highlights in the replay, but the reason we lost to Chicago was 7 threes, only 7 threes. Ayo Dosunmu had 22, and our bench was terrible outside of Mark Williams. So there's that. And tonight we just went super cold. That's pretty much it. There was a lot of fouling in the fourth quarter, so not a lot of rhythm. Terry Rozier didn't get cooking after the third quarter at all. And Drew Holiday was huge in the road trip opener with a career high 12 rebounds. Threes were again an issue there as well. We hung in very nicely, but for some reason we play well against Milwaukee, but we just couldn't finish it off there. And the third quarter of the Chicago game, where we only scored 21, they scored 32. And tonight in the fourth quarter, we only scored 18, and the Pistons took advantage. Sadiq Bey, the Charlotte native, has been a thorn in our side. Every game we play him, he seems to come up with big shots. So credit them. Jaden Ivey, who doesn't make threes typically, 31%. He had 4 big ones tonight. Bojan Bogdanovic had a big night as well. Just some sloppy stuff. But that 5-second call, we definitely, at the end, definitely didn't get the Mississippi's on the 5-second call. That was a super quick 5-second call, but it was just a really gross game. Dennis Smith Jr. did have an amazing punch. JT Thor as well. I think if we don't make some moves at the trade deadline, it's doing the youngsters a disservice, because we don't know if Mark Williams and Mason Plumlee could be a platoon center backup. And Mason Plumlee's had a career year, but having to say, Mason Plumlee, we're gonna need you to win us a ball game. That's too much on Mason Plumlee, even for him in his career year. It just is. And Gordon Hayward didn't play the last stretch. He must be on a minutes restriction with the multiple injuries, so that kind of makes sense. But PJ Washington has been really ugly, and I understand you go through bad stretches in the NBA shooting. That's just the nature of it. But not having any rebounds, or maybe one is kind of gross for a 6'9" basketball player. That's unacceptable, unfair, and Mark Williams really needs to play and play a lot. So I really hope, if there's one thing we do at the trade deadline, is to open up the path for Mark Williams to get regular playing time, because he deserves it, and he looks like a cornerstone piece. And that it was the best thing about this road trip. We were pretty good on the boards the entire road trip, so that was positive, but everything else is just kind of blech. When we go in really, really bad stretches, we don't have a guy that says, okay, let me get a bucket, let me get fouled. Just kind of a takeover type of guy. I mean, LaMelo can do it, Terry can do it, but we just don't have that it guy that consistently strikes fear into opponents other than LaMelo and Terry. And when those guys are off at any stretches, these type of games happen. So an 0-3 road trip, and Detroit had 13 wins. So I think they got an extra one, helps us in the draft process. So I think if we don't do anything at the trade deadline, I'm going to be seething mad, just because that's not how. Sometimes you got to tear it down to the studs and work your way back. And obviously there's been a lot of unlucky things this year that you can't control, but this is something you can control. And winning with young guys is kind of more acceptable than not winning a lot with the veteran guys that we have, even though this was only the 12th game where we had our intended starting five, other than Miles Bridges, and we know that situation. It's just, you just gotta read the room and read the stats. You are what your record says you are, because we've had a lot of this stretch. We've been healthiest we've been the entire year, and it's just been gross. Some games that you feel like you should win, you don't. So as always, Buzz City all flag, go Hornets. Tough road trip, cold road trip, 3 games in 4 nights. It's one of those things. But as always, go Hornets. We'll see what happens. Hopefully the trade deadline is active for Buzz City.